Let's sing a song full of hope, full of pain. Why don't you sing along, my friend? For it's our last refrain. Forever young, ever strong, ever brave. Memories like this never end. No, they don't fade away. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. Here's to the ones who let shine through the rain, the ones who stood for something more. We won't forget your names. The tide is high, say goodbye, we're setting sail, and all those midnight secrets told, we'll take them to the grave. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun. Close to the sun. So when I'm gone, oh, when I'm gone, I'll be right there, close to the sun. Keep holding on, keep holding on. And I'll be right there, close to the sun, close to the sun.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. It's been another week. Man, time flies when you are having fun. We are on episode 22 of the Icey Lair podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I am your host, the Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. So, man, what an interesting week. So normally the entertainment business gives us a lot to talk about, especially Disney. But Disney's good old downfall, they, man, they say they're not going to get into politics, but man, they definitely hit it this week. But I'm actually not going to talk about it because it deals on the political realm of what they're getting involved with. You know, that Florida bill that's going on with the schools. And my recommendation is just read the bill, be informed. And then you guys can make your own decisions if Disney's right or not. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole because this deals with politics. And yeah, it's just, I don't want to deal with that. So that's really all Disney was dealing with this week. So don't care too much about it. There is a trailer that we'll probably end up watching, which is the Miss Marvel, which, my goodness, never thought I'd see Disney become the CW. But here we are. Here we are. Yikes. That's all I gotta say. Disney, what you doing, man? But I think I'm gonna switch gears a little bit. I kind of want to talk about something interesting. Something a little bit more interesting. let's go ahead and talk about this. So, saw this from the good old Lady Gravemaster. Again, if you haven't subscribed to her, I highly recommend it. She does an awesome stream with good old Lethal Lightning with the Sailor Moon Manga podcast, which I enjoy thoroughly. Bringing me back to my childhood. But yeah, this is an interesting one. So she retweeted from Vanity Fair that Amazon finalizes deal to acquire MGM for 8.5 billion. The merger will combine Amazon Studios' primarily TV-focused brand with MGM, home to legacy franchises including James Bond and Rocky. So, we got to start asking ourselves, how big is too big for a company? And in my opinion, I think Amazon has finally gotten just too big. It's going to get to the point where uh, have we become too dependent on Amazon? I mean, I will say that I have for sure. Amazon is usually my go-to place for find very important knickknacks that I can't find in any other store. Like, I deal with specialized hobbies. I mean, you guys, if you've watched my other channels, I deal with model railroading, model building, and so forth, and I do need specialized tools. And sometimes I can't find it anywhere else. So sometimes I have to shop online. And then the other kicker with it is, on this channel, I have to look for manga books. And sometimes I just can't find the right manga volume to make videos and to dive into these stories for you guys to explore, to help you find your escapism. So, unfortunately, Amazon's the end all be all because, their business model has always been massive distribution centers, and it just works, unfortunately. So now it just comes to a point, do you think that we should separate Amazon into sub companies? And in my opinion, it's time. Amazon's getting a little bit too big here, especially with this deal, 8.5 billion. Now, unfortunately, probably go on to this article here, but normally here in the United States, we have something called monopolies and antitrust laws in effect to prevent, one company from monetizing the entire section or supply chain or something, so that way they don't jack up prices and so forth. And unfortunately, the argument can be made that Amazon still has competition. There was a business YouTuber, I can't remember the guy's name, but I think he said it best. When Amazon makes an announcement, the stocks react to it, either in favor or very negatively. When you have a company that, with a simple announcement, can able to increase or decrease the market of the stock, I think that company is way too big to have that much power and that much influence over the stock market. Amazon officially closed its second largest acquisition ever, welcoming MGM to the fold for the 8.5 billion. That's B with a billion. 8.5 billion. The company's announced on Tuesday the landmark deal was first reported last May pending regulatory approval. MGM offers Amazon Studios a diverse catalog of more than 4,000 movies. That's actually something worthwhile to look into. Because I know they give us a little snapshot here, but I'm actually kind of curious just how big that is. What does MGM own in movies? Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of articles here that we can look into. Yeah, there's articles for days. So let's go ahead and see what we got here. So okay. So including the James Bond, which is going to be interesting because, I am really concerned on where they're going to take James Bond, considering we're already starting to see where they're going to go with, we saw the Wheel of Time. We're seeing now with the Rings of Power, with Lord of the Rings. What do you think they're going to do to James Bond? So we got the Rocky Creed, the Pink Panther, its film Slate Boost, Legacy Blonde of the Silence of the Lambs. Oh, they own Silence of the Lambs now. Thelma and Louise, as well as TV shows such as The Handmaid's Tale and Survivor. As part of the agreement, Amazon will also assume all of MGM's debt in the sale, which they can probably pay off. And they're a $1 trillion company. They can probably pay all that debt off. MGM has nearly century-long legacy of producing exceptional entertainment, and we share their commitment to delivering a broad slate of original films and television shows to a global audience. Mike Hopkins, Senior Vice President of Prime Video and Amazon Studios, said in a statement, "We welcome MGM employees, creators, talent, and Prime Video, Amazon Studios, and we will look forward to working together to create even more opportunities to deliver quality story to our customers." It's not going to go well with Lord of the Rings, hasn't it? Finalizing the Amazon MGM deal arrives 2 days after the European Union's antitrust regulator unconditionally approved the acquisition. That sucks. Variety reports in the antitrust review, the European regulator found that MGM's content cannot be considered as must-have, and that there are limited overlaps between Amazon and MGM. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission declined to block the purchase, as the deadline to challenge it elapsed in mid-March. Amazon and MGM's merger comes months after AT&T announced it would be spinning off Warner Media and combining it with Discovery, creating one of the biggest media conglomerates in the country. So, I mean, that's the other thing we got to look into, is I need to educate myself a little bit on the antitrust laws. But it's just going to get to the point that, we have these mega corporations and collusion's going to happen. And, what happened to Parler should be very, very alarming. That you had, the top companies, Apple, Google, Amazon, all go against Parler. That was crazy. That should have never happened in our antitrust laws, but it did. It was swept under the rug. How big is too big? MGM has responsibility for the creation of some of the most well-known and critically acclaimed films and television series of the past century. We look forward to continuing the tradition as we held in the next chapter, coming together with the great team at Prime Video and Amazon Studios to provide audiences with the very best entertainment for years to come, and to wokeify it, and to ruin it into the ground. And then we'll take a look at another article here from Screen Rant. I know not the greatest place in the whole wide world, but Amazon's recent purchase MGM brings a company a ton of classic TV and film purchases, including James Bond, Rocky, and the big one that everyone is worried about now, Stargate. Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. So yeah, James Bond. What do you guys think they're going to do to James Bond? If done correctly, they can have a miniseries of James Bond. I think that would be kind of cool instead of doing movies. But again, we're starting to see a sample of what their narrative is. Again, we just have to look at the Wheel of Time and soon to be Lord of the Rings. Handmaid's Tale. Ooh, they own Fargo. Yeah, Stargate. One of the titles on this list, Stargate, seems to be the one most primed for major rebooting. Of course we're going to reboot. Of course we are. Well, there's been little movement in the popular sci-fi franchise of late. A transfer of rights could set Stargate up for a climactic return. The series has spanned both film and television successfully, and its core concept leaves a nearly endless of possibilities for future content. To also include time travel. Good luck with that one. Plus, catalog of pre-existing Stargate material is massive on its own right and should be a great get for Amazon from the start. Going forward, new Stargate theatrical films and original streaming series could be distant possibilities as well. If done correctly, yes. if they respect the material that came before. How hard is it? But no, they want to put their own spin. The directors, the producers, just want to do their own thing. Rocky. They better not touch it. Just leave it how it is. Legally Bond, I could care less. Vikings. Considering that Vikings already went woke, rip. Pink Panther. I only cared about the cartoon, didn't really care about the live action. Silence of the Lambs. So this was another one that everyone's concerned a bit with, because now you have RoboCop. Yep, waiting for the next RoboCop to be female. Just waiting for it. Just waiting for it. Yikes. Yeah, I am really concerned about that acquisition. But again, Amazon knows how to skirt the laws. There's going to be a jack of all trades, master of none. And I think there's a good graph that kind of illustrates this. It's like a little pie chart. I'm trying to see if I can find it. That kind of shows what they own. I just don't. Yeah, here we go. This is it. It's from Reddit, but it actually is a great illustration of this. All right, so let's take a look at this. So I don't know how well you guys can see this, but so basically Amazon is a jack of all trades, master of none. And so they are trying to create and compete against other broad services into this well-rounded sphere. So from logistics servings to Amazon, this is kind of scary just how much they are dabbled into everything. So they got cloud service with AWS. They have Twitch, obviously, with gaming streaming. They got a pay system. Amazon Logistics, Audible, Alexa, Prime Music, IMDb. I didn't realize they own IMDb. Prime with streaming services, the actual website, Kindle with audiobooks. So you can see this is how they skirt the laws of antitrust. When they diversify, and I would guarantee that this is the parent company, Amazon proper, but then these are all sub-companies owned by the parent company of Amazon. So you can see how they're kind of skirting the laws a little bit to say, no, we're not monopolizing the market because we have all these other companies in the industries that we're just dabbling into. The best statement, Amazon's at war with everyone. Amazon is at war with everyone. Yeah, so I figured this would be a good thing just to discuss because, it gets to the point that, we rely on something for the convenience and the availability. But at the same time, are we going to sacrifice that luxury with our antitrust laws? It's going to get interesting. It's going to get interesting. Because the competition, Hollywood is changing. I don't think Hollywood's going to be in Hollywood proper. Gary from Neurotic pretty much said it best, where it's going to move to Silicon Valley. And Amazon buying MGM is a huge staple in that. Going to be a huge staple in that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next segment, which I'm excited for. There's been a lot of news on the space front. Oh my goodness. So if you guys didn't see, we've got some huge news coming from the space side. So NASA decides to show off its biggest rocket to date. The SLS, Artemis 1 program. Rolled out from the vehicle assembly bay onto a little crawler and is now doing a wet test. So it's actually on the launch pad right now. Going to do a, what I think, if I remember correctly, called a wet rehearsal, meaning that they're going to load the whole thing up with liquid. I think the two are the SRBs, or the solid rocket boosters. They won't ignite those, to my understanding. And then the liquid one, they will fuel, but then they only will like expand like 10% thrust, I think. Again, I don't know the full details, but I think it's scheduled that the whole plan is that the capsule on top is going to be an unmanned capsule that's going to go and circle the orbit of the moon and then come back to test it out. And then our second rocket, as you guys know, if you guys have been following this channel, I've been following this one really heavily, and that's Starship. The two rockets going into the future. Two completely different designs, two different entities that own them, and I think it's just beautiful. I think for the first time we're starting to see, this is the result of a government agency, aka NASA, along with the contractors, and then we have a privately owned SpaceX that's going to be launching theirs here soon with reusability, and it's just great. The future, and there's been a lot of tweets, people saying side by side, the future. And then this has been an interesting little debate. So the space shuttle will always champion over Starship. I will debate that one because we'll always, again, we deal with absolutism, and always is definitely an absolute statement, absolute word. So my humble opinion, the space shuttle can only do so much. So I will open up this debate by functionality. The whole function of the shuttle was to do low Earth orbit to geospatial orbits type of mission. So it will go to the Hubble to repair it. It will go to the International Space Station to basically build it. And I think that was kind of the intent for the shuttle, was that it was supposed to be, our mobile crane in space to build the sections of the ISS. That was the whole point of it. It wasn't designed to go to Mars. It wasn't designed to go to the moon or anything like that. When you think about what Starship is going to do, I'm just, for the purpose and functionality, that's what I'm focusing on in this debate, minus which one costs more or whatever. Just by the mission and function alone, I will argue that the Starship is vastly superior. Well, I can't say that just yet. Based on theoretical proposals of Starship, it could be better. Now, I got to put that could because, again, we're comparing a fully operational space shuttle to a prototype mock Starship 20 that's still going through developmental phases. So I have no objective qualifiers between the two just yet. So technically, right now, the shuttle is the champion. However, once Starship actually proves to be functional and operational, then Starship will be far superior. But again, it's got to I'm basing my facts on theoretical statements, not actual operational statistics. So, yes, for the time being, the shuttle is superior, but in the future, that's going to change. And I'm basing that off of, I'm assuming, again, it's a big assumption right now, that Starship will, if we pretend for the sake of the argument that Starship does function the way it's all intended to, then Starship will be vastly superior. Simply because of functionality, reusable, it's going to be able to land and get refueled and then go. The reusability alone in its mission asset is, and the turnaround time for a Starship, going to be so much more better than the shuttle. I mean, I just hate to say it, but it's the way it is. And hopefully we can actually get that theoretical to operational. I will be super, super stoked. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's talk about the James Webb Telescope. So I've been following this one very closely. We got a new update that slowly and surely all of those honeycomb lenses on the James Webb Telescope is being calibrated. Following the completion of a critical mirror alignment steps, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope team expects that Webb's optical performance will be to meet or exceed science goals the observatory was built to achieve. March 11th, the Webb team completed the stage of alignment known as fine phasing. At this key stage in the commissioning of Webb's optical telescope element, every optical parameter that has been checked and tested is performing at or above expectations. The team also found no critical issues and no measurable contamination or blockages to Webb's optical path. The observatory is able to successfully gather light from distant objects and deliver it to its instruments without issue. And so this is kind of our alignment image. Just wonderful. Again, it's still got to be fine-tuned. So again, this is just, they're lining everything up. But I cannot wait for this to start doing science missions. Like, out of all of the projects that is going on from last year to this year, this is probably the most exciting one. Because, yeah, SpaceX would be awesome to get humanity going and so forth. But the James Webb Telescope can see far beyond anything that we can reach in our lifetime. And in theory, to the edge of space. It's basically a time machine. Can look back in our past from the Big Bang. Although there are months to go before Webb ultimately delivers its new view of the cosmos, achieving this milestone means that the team is confident that the Webb's first of its kind optical system is working as well as possible. More than 20 years ago, the Webb team set out to build the most powerful telescope that anyone has ever put into space and come up with an audacious optical design to meet demanding science goals. Yeah. And again, this is the mirror alignment. So this was the command center here. And you can see from that little image there, they're aligning all those little honeycomb shaped telescope things. And then they kind of talk about it. It's definitely worth looking into. You see all those images and how it's realigning. Yeah, it gets a lot more technical, but really cool stuff. Like, I'm really excited. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Yeah, and we talked about that. We'll get to that here in a minute. So some other space news. Again, we're talking about there's the crawler transporter 2. Getting the rust off its wheels because it's been a while. It's been a while since they've used it, but getting under the rocket and moving it. Yeah, very, very cool. The Tale of Two Rockets. SpaceX Starship and NASA's SLS. Yeah, that just says it all right there. Seeing them side by side. So cool. So cool. Yeah, and then in some other random news, Disney to include gay relationship in Lightyear movie, because we all know how they got rid of it in the China version for Star Wars and the Rise of Skywalker. This is so not needed. Don't care for it. Not gonna waste my money on it. Not going to waste my money on it. Okay, and then the last thing I kind of want to talk about is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is just, my goodness, it is a fun game to watch. It's definitely not a game for me because I'm not into the video games that, it takes me hours and patience to try to kill a boss. I'd rather just watch someone else play that. I'm into my more very generic sandboxy simulator-ish type of games. But man, they are ranking in the money. And everyone that I've seen, right now, this is easily the game of the year. Until something else comes out, which I don't think anything's going to come out as good as Elden Ring this year. Elden Ring has sold an astonishing 12 million copies worldwide in the first 2 weeks. That translates into at least $720 million in revenue. That is crazy. Just killed it. And we're going to hear from our wonderful Weekend Warrior, another awesome streamer here on the YouTubes. But let's go ahead and take a look at this article from Software themselves. Bandai Namco Entertainment from Software collaboration. Brand new action RPG Elden Ring. 1 million units sold in Japan. 12 million units sold worldwide. That's insane. And then the concept of delivering deep and lasting quality content for consumers worldwide from Software's talented development has come together with Bandai Namco Entertainment Worldwide Marketing Network to bring about a brand new action RPG Elden Ring from the home console video game platforms. Elden Ring was created under the guidance of Software's incorporating the expansive worldwide through the eyes of George R.R. Martin, author of the fantasy series known as Song of Ice and Fire, which he will never finish. While applying from Software's expertise in developing pulse-pounding, action-based titles. Yep. So yes, George R.R. Martin did have a heavy part in this video game, which is unfortunate because all that time that he was using to pump out this video game, he's going to get millions. It's kind of ridiculous, to say the least. Could have been done to do Winds of Winter, A Dream of Spring, which you guys will never see. I am thoroughly convinced. Not bad. Not bad at all. It's a lot of money. $720 million. And then good old Disney. Disney World struggling to fill 100 rooms, $5,000 Star Wars hotel. Yeah, I'm definitely making a video on what I can spend with $5,000. It's going to take me a little bit of time because I kind of actually want to script it out, and there's a lot of things that I can do with that money. Yeah, It's ridiculous. Redonkulous. What can I do for 5,000? There's so much more you can do with that. There is so much more that you can do with that. All right. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Like I said, Disney was just in the news for all the stupid reasons. Those were the big topics that I really wanted to cover. That Elden Ring is just killing it in the gaming industry. Manga's been killing it. We will talk about more on that on Monday. My Dress Up Darling, Comey Can't Communicate, they're just killing it right now with millions and millions of copies sold. You know, woke Twitter wants to try to cancel it now, which is garbage. So yeah, and then I also finished my manga series, The Incurable Case of Love, which was good, but it didn't stick the landing like I wanted to, but we'll discuss more about that a little bit later. Kind of want to talk about that on the Mangaverse on Monday. All right, so what's coming up for me? So, content is going to slow down a little bit because I've got a train show that I'm in charge of coming up in April for 2 weeks. And you'll see all that content on my model railroading channel, so that'll pick up a little bit. On this channel, I do have several manga books I still got to review. I've got the rest of the Incurable Case of Love to review. I've got Berserk to review. I got Tura Dura is another one. Yeah, I've got so many manga books. So many. But we will get it. I'll do a lot of recording tomorrow, hopefully, and then we will get those out to you guys. So I'm having fun with manga. And then Endless Collectibles, again, it's just whenever I can hit it. I'll probably do another video for that tomorrow. And then on Monday, we got the Mangaverse. And then also on the Endless Collectibles channel, we have our final date for kind of what I'm calling the first half of the year kind of series. But the Triple C with the Geeky Crochet is going to be happening in 2 weeks. 2 weeks on Wednesday, the 30th of March. Mark the calendars, save the date. We will do our final Triple C for the first half of this year, and then we will return for the second half of the year around September, because again, I am moving. All my collectibles are getting packed up. My studio is getting packed up, and you know, with the train show in 2 weeks, that's going to kill all of April, and then I'm basically packing up in May to get the house on the market in June. So going to be busy. So all right, guys, I think that is all that I got. Again, kind of a shorter episode, but those were the dominant things that I really wanted to talk about. So with that, I am your Ice Dragon, Rayron VR. So again, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to all of the goodness that I have here on YouTube to the channels. And with that, wing hugs to all, and to all a good night.